Hello everybody, and welcome back to Hour 2. So, as I said, Stalbor and Kyrann had already returned to the vessel probably a few minutes ago to find out what was going on. On your flight over, you saw that one of the ships were completely anchored down, no questions whatsoever, and you saw the second ship was in pursuit. But even though it was in pursuit, you guys were on the tail end of a fly spell, were pretty much out of your higher level magics, knew that you probably wouldn't be able to take this thing on by yourself if it was that full thing, and you already were aware of the fact that your friends were taking care of it. You already knew, okay, this is good. You trust them. So
can we take that ship?
Which ship?
I say it, the Stalbor, the one's anchored to the ground.
I
point to the anchored one, then can we take that one?
I am glad that you managed to get them to deal with a problem in a non-violent way. And hopefully, this will all just blow over. No, you can't take the other ship. An Elvish ship.
It's a nice ship.
It is a nice ship. You can stay a nice ship over there. I like the idea of us bickering and then, like, landing.
Right. I will flick my ring of swimming over to the elf that's on our ship that we kidnapped.
Oh yeah.
Flick your ring of what?
Swimming.
To the... Oh, gotcha. You toss it to him? Okay.
Yeah.
He's still standing there.
Yeah. I'm gonna have the ring.
So yeah, so you hand him the ring, or you toss it to him, you know, kind of catch it. It's not like a super graceful catch, but he does catch it, and looks at it curiously and looks at you.
I like gesture off the ship.
It's a ring of swimming. She's trying to get you to leave our ship because we just got given a job by your prince. So you should really go and tell that ship over there to stop attacking and stop everything. Really, you should just behave and be nice because we're working for you now. So play nice.
Also, you can tell your prince that we're probably gonna have to dock so we can supply.
Just nods, gets like very formal stance, bows slightly, slips the ring on, and will turn and jump off the ship. It's very great. This part is very graceful. They jump into the water and whatnot. These are aquatic peoples, right? They live in islands. So and then just start swimming very fast because of the magics of your ring. Over towards the next closest vessel, which he doesn't know yet, but is burning from the underside. What zips over his swimming head is Bellum, Reich, and N. You see... actually, roll me perception checks, please. Bellum, don't forget disadvantage.
Who's rolling perception checks?
Reich and Bellum.
Yeah, that was on the clear. Alright, cool.
The chumps.
So you lot? Oh, got him. Reverse that, Brian.
Okay, despite your disadvantage, Bellum, you notice an elf swimming the opposite direction of where you're flying.
I don't,
You stop to give him a cuddle. Gotcha.
Nope. I just land.
You just fly past him?
Yeah, fly past him onto the ship.
Okay, so you fly past him onto the ship, no problems. Don't have to worry about you guys like attacking him and killing him in the swim. Like, blah, blah, blah.
Nope.
So,
give him a quick stab.
So you guys land onto the vessel, and the other ship is still a good distance from you, but Bellum has a longbow, right?
Yep.
Okay. As soon as you guys land on the ship, N is gonna kind of like nudge at you and just like points to like the water line. Like you can actually see the smoke billowing out of the front of the ship and everything. Point towards the water line over there and say, "Can you hit the hull right there with as many arrows as you can?"
I'll look at it.
Hold up. What are you doing? What is this scheming here?
We're just finishing it. Hold on. And
finishing what?
We're in pursuit. Oh, welcome back.
No. Why are you in pursuit? What do you do? What have you done?
Did you take out the other ship?
Oh, I don't have disadvantage.
Yeah, I was like.
If you knock an arrow, Stalbor will, with the end of his staff, like an old man, smack it out of your hand.
That's between the two of you.
Can we roll initiative?
Yeah, I'm actually
technically, yes.
Yeah, if I get worse, sure, golden.
I get advantage on initiative. So.
Oh, you cheesy.
Oh! Oh, so, I was like, it's tied, but no, Bellum pulls ahead. So,
I
shoot
try.
I shoot one.
And then I
shoot a
jab your
second one.
belly instead.
I shoot a second one, and then you, yeah.
You're so fast.
shoot your second arrow.
What are you doing? We're actually working for them now.
Okay.
Yeah, but they took out the one ship and they took out the other ship. I'm so proud of you guys.
I don't reply to that. I just like you could see I'm like soaking wet. I'm shivering a little bit. I just shot the 2 arrows. I look at N. That good enough?
Create and destroy water on Bellum.
Oh.
Dry me out?
Nice and dry. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It could have been the other.
Could have been. It could have been.
I was like,
either way.
wait a second.
One or the other. Yeah,
That's why I was like, am I dry?
Yeah, dry you up.
So I don't seem so meh, but I'm still very emotionless. I just grab 2 more arrows and look at
Don't you shoot
Stalbor.
them, mister.
I look at Stalbor and I shoot 2 more arrows in the same spot.
You do realize that you are going to doom our entire operation if you shoot 1 more arrow.
It is true. Like we did.
You're going to make
Okay,
everything
yeah.
that we've done completely worthless. Every single thing. Ever.
Ever.
Well,
Silver.
I mean, the ship's already on fire.
And it can be repaired. You underestimate these people.
And what do you think?
not trying to
Can
be.
that ship be repaired?
Let me reword this. I hope the ship can be repaired, because otherwise you have just made us waste all of our time and everything that we have ever done, ever.
Oh,
Captain!
I'm sorry.
He says ironically, kind of. He's like,
Yeah.
Captain!
It was-
Turning to Kyrann. What
Yeah.
did you tell me to do?
I told you to solve the problem.
Thanks, Captain. And he'll look at
I also-
Stalbor.
I also would like to.
What a stupid idea.
I also would like to point out that you told us neither where you were going or what you were doing.
I said we were
act-
going to solve the problem, and we did.
From our point of view, we solved the problem. From your point of view,
Yes,
you
we
solved the
too-
problem.
We too solved
We'll
the
solve
problem.
different problems.
Ironically, we solved the problem the way that you would usually solve the problem, and you the way we would. But we can.
Okay, just leave the ship there. It's fine the way it is. It'll.
Oh, it's not fine the way it is. We lit it on fire in a way to make sure that it would lose all structural integrity and hopefully collapse.
It's fine. It's fine. We didn't know of the deal at the time. Right? It's fine? Look at Kyrann like questioningly.
It's fine. They can't expect us not to defend ourselves when they attack us.
So
Yeah, don't
we are
they-
all together, and we've now received orders to stop, and so therefore we've stopped. And that guy was swimming the other way. I'm assuming that was a gesture of peace.
I also want to point out that we only destroyed 50% of the ships that they sent our way.
That was the plan.
Yeah, look at Stalbor.
So I'm going to assume that we did not gain favor of this prince, and we're moving on to the next one.
They gave us a job. I don't really want to take it. I do have one last argument to make, and I did maybe convince them to let us go there and shop.
Okay, well, first off, shopping sounds great.
Bellum will
Second
shop.
off, I have a question.
Mhm.
Even if we haven't convinced this prince, whoever he is,
She.
I won't
That's-
get used to these pronouns around here. But either way,
The woman.
no, I know.
It's like, there's only,
Every orc is a he.
this isn't even
They
a
just don't care.
So, well, I won't get. So anyway, if we don't gain their word of joining us, if all the other people we go to talk to, seeing as it's gone swimmingly so well, decide to join us, will they not probably follow suit? Would that not be a sign of power to them?
No.
Okay, then
They're very.
I say we
ways,
we
right?
go there, we do some shopping, and maybe you have your last words to try to convince them. But beyond that, I wouldn't say we stick around here to sink more ships. And he looks at Stalbor with a slight smile on his face.
Starboard turns and walks away grumbling.
Salbor, we still have to tell him, like, discuss the job offer just in case.
Well, I think we should take it.
You think we should break into a prison with anti-magic force fields all around it
I didn't
to
know
rescue a very dangerous war criminal?
I didn't know that. Oh, I knew that bit.
What?
You're very good at breaking out of prisons, so the
With
opposite
magic.
seems.
Wait, why are we breaking out of the war criminal?
Their condition to trusting us, they didn't even give us their word that they would help us if we did this, but trust us, was to go to Dreadholt.
You don't understand that the trust of these people is more important than their word.
What I
Things
understand
I
is that
could
this
do
is-
if we make this deal.
The issue
Who
here
is this person?
that they have literally given us an impossible task. Can you not see that this is just a way of getting us out of their hair? They've told us that they're willing to entreat, but they're not truly willing to entreat. They send us off on this impossible task, either expecting we take on the task and die in the effort, or we dismiss it as too great of a cost and move on.
That's not how elves think, right?
No, that's how wishy-washy people who don't want to take a stance on things think. So I'm sure the elves don't think like that at all.
Got him. Ignoring that,
You're right.
Bellum will say, "Who is this war hero, criminal, whatever you want to call him?"
They're
He's
prince.
a warforged. No, the war criminal that we're.
Oh,
It's a
What's his-
warforged. What was his name, Scott?
Genocide.
its name?
genocide.
Genocide.
Ring a bell, Scott?
Wait, what?
Yeah, you guys would have heard of him. Supposedly
His name
wiped
is
out.
genocide.
He supposedly wiped out an entire town all by himself in the southern reaches of Karnath.
Was that before or after he was called genocide?
That's actually where he finally got the name Genocide.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Figured.
I didn't
I
think
don't
that
even know
would
if I
ever
want
have to-
these elves to have this, man.
I didn't think I would ever have to say this sentence in my entire life, but I don't think I want to be a party to saving genocide.
This is more than just Lyrindar at stake.
I mean, I can understand that they might have a lot of things to offer us, that these fast ships of theirs, but if we could essentially stop two of them, as mighty as they are, why?
Their ships are impressive, but ultimately,
why do we
it's their
need them?
magic.
It's their magic. They have magics aeons before your civilization. Well, your civilization probably, and your civilization. He points to Kyrann. Before your civilization already existed, they have magic from before that time.
That was brilliant. Oh no, Ollie, that was brilliant.
Well, as enticing as that is, I bring us around to the fact that they've set us on an impossible task.
Nothing
If
is
anyone-
impossible.
That's what the parents tell their children, so they'll go away and stop asking them questions. That's not a truth. That's not fact. There are many things in this world that are impossible, or fundamentally impossible.
Well,
Breaking
let's
into
them
a
one
prison-
last time.
I'm fine with visiting one lot. Did my mic die?
No.
And then we can discuss
Oh.
it further.
It got super quiet, so sorry. I'm fine with visiting one last time. Doing the you try to discuss it further. We'll go shopping, but I don't think we need to follow up with this plan of rescuing a war criminal.
Let
I
me
think-
just tell you something that is important.
Mm.
That all of you know. The magics that Fallen have are not just magics of war, they're magics of life and of death. If we do this for them, they said that they would trust us. There is a chance, and admittedly it might only be a small chance, that they may teach that to me. Now, these magics that can influence life and death and change the states of which living beings and those who are deceased is something I have been seeking since I left my homeland. It's the only thing I have been seeking.
I want to make this work for you. I do.
While
I'll
this
say-
is-
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I say, well, this is all well and good, and I would be more than happy to help you achieve this goal. I still stand by the fact that this is a near impossible task, given that 3 of us in this group draw our power directly from magical means. At least 2.5.
I look at him like, what I do with my bow isn't magic, though it seems it, but I like the compliment.
I was referring to pointing at your mark.
He nods. He understands.
I wasn't suggesting your combat skills would be affected, but if we're breaking into a prison, we need more than combat skills. And I also want to point out that none of us know how to even use a lockpick. Never mind break into a heavily guarded prison.
Managed by Kundarak, by the way.
Oh.
That means literally nothing to me. Wait, that's the dwarf one, right?
Yes, it's the dwarf one.
Okay.
I also want to point out that by pissing off Kundarak, we're pissing off the other houses.
Isn't the whole point that we're pissing off all the houses anyways?
We're pissing off Lair and Darfur. We're gonna go down the
One
line.
at a time, right?
One at a time. If they all
Yes,
converge against us, then we can't get anything done.
Well,
True.
my suggestion, given that to go here, where is this place? This prison? Where does it reside?
Oh, it's actually really close to where we were before. We passed it.
Truly, we're close to it.
No, we were close to it back when we were at you know.
Is that 6?
That was a very misleading sentence.
That doesn't help
We
anyone.
You're
went
about
to
1,000
last point.
miles from it.
Yeah. We went to the last point. We went north. We passed it. Like it's about halfway between Dreadhold. It's by Cape Fear or Cape Bar.
Oh, yeah.
No.
So like
Now,
we passed
where
it. Like
would
it's
you-
like right in between like where we are now and where we were at last point.
It's legit, as the crow flies, 800 miles.
I will consider doing this under one very important condition. You must give me time, and you must be willing to work with me to plan this break-in.
No.
We're not going to fling it. We're not going to just go caution to the wind. We're going to sit down, and we're going to plan this thing.
I'll
It's
go
the
one
only
step
way that we
further.
have a chance.
I'll go one step further. I think that what our discussions with the elves should be is help best their knowledge helping us plan. Perhaps a few artifacts, or they want this done.
They could at least let us know why we're doing it.
Exactly.
I have a
We'll
question
agree,
for
talk
you,
them.
Captain. Reich was mentioning, don't you want to piss off the families?
Yeah.
And you said one at a time.
Yeah.
If a rogue group of us decide to piss off Larendar, and it's known that we're pissing off Larendar, and the families work together to stop us, that's all fine and dandy. But wouldn't it be best to make it seem like another family was pissing off Larendar? Maybe cut ties between them? Wouldn't that make things worse for them in the long run?
How do you
Perhaps.
suggest we do that?
Perhaps we make it seem as though our small army we are gathering might be hired from a different family, or might be run by a different family, or we might be contracted to be doing this, not doing this out of your will.
Or
Maybe.
we make it look like Lirandar is breaking into the prison.
Yes. Or we do something along those lines where we frame Larendar for going against another house.
I don't even know if Dreadhold is like within that storm.
There's only one
Because we could
issue
get
that
through.
I would point out.
Only
For
one?
this plan. Well, only one. Only one major one that
Yeah,
I can
big
think
one.
of. That the fact is that we have Kyrann, who's excoriate, and so it would be very easy for them to prove that she is not one of Lirandar. Number two, if we believe that they're truly in cahoots, it would be easy for them to communicate with each other. And three, isn't one or more of them experts at information gathering?
I'm
I feel
also
as-
going to be amassing an army of people who have the Mark of the Storm who aren't associated with Larendar and are very actively against them. So, I mean, we're not going to be able to prove that we're still part of Larendar or whatnot. That's
But your plan has merit. I just don't think Lirandar is the right one to choose. I think that we need to seriously consider who would, which house.
right.
We
We
would
haven't been able to decipher any of the information. We don't know which houses are on Larendar's side and which ones aren't. We simply don't have the information for that kind of plan.
Does it matter who's on their side? A betrayal's a betrayal, nevertheless.
It does when they meet at the Council of 12 and they discuss these things. And we have no way of infiltrating that. We have no way of getting information across. We have no way of even contacting the mainland at this point.
Well, perhaps all this discussion needs to take second place until we learn more from these elves, and then we can discuss in depth if we need to.
Okay, but it's a good start. Something we can think on. So then the plan is that we need to discuss with these elves a little bit more, see if we can't pick their brain for a plan. And once we have a plan, then we will make a decision.
I'm still hoping we can convince them to work with us. Lyrandar has already allied themselves with Aranel.
Well, if these
It's
elves
in their
are
best interest to work with us.
well, if these elves are as stubborn as Stalbor, I highly doubt it.
They're worse.
You're serious?
I don't think they're stubborn. It just takes them a very long time to.
Is that not stubbornness? It just presents differently in elves.
All right.
Well, we have only one plan, so
So let's give them time to save their ship,
Yes.
and then go
yeah.
back tomorrow.
let us
morning.
go
We'll try it out.
see if we can't spend a little bit of our gold and hopefully boost their economy enough that they've forgotten about the fact that we just
I
destroyed one of
think
their
we
ships.
should spend one night on the ship, give them time to come to terms with all that, and see if they can save their ship, and then dock tomorrow morning.
Okay, you're right.
Good plan.
Okay.
All right, so
You guys go to retire to your various places. Unless there's something else in particular you need to do at the moment.
One quick thing. I want to go to Reich, and I want to say, Reich, listen. It seems as though, for the most part, you trust me. It seems as though Kyrann might realize that I fit more than she might like. Stalbor doesn't seem to care for me at all, and I could say it works both ways. However, and he takes out of his sack, he puts down a scroll and a potion. He says, "These aren't going to help me in the slightest. These might be better off in his hands. If I try to give them to him, he might be too proud, and I really don't want to. So here, you do with them with what you will. He probably wants them."
okay. I pick him up and I look at you and I say, as distant as Stalbor seems, I promise you that whatever lack of trust he has for you is only meant out of care for the two of us, and perhaps not a little bit of hurt at all that has gone on recently.
Don't worry. He can not trust me all he wants. I'm just saying it's a two-way street. I don't trust him either. I mean, that's fine with me.
Well, as long as you trust one of us, that's all I can really ask for. I'll get him to him.
I nod.
And I'll pretty much just go directly to Stalbor, and I'll be like, "Hey, Stalbor,
Good.
I found these. I found these during my our looting. I think that they might be of use to you. Can you identify them?" Handing him the scroll and the potion.
Yes, these are stolen goods.
Not stolen. Stolen
I'll-
requires deeds and ownership.
I'll.
Reappropriated.
I'll. Do I need to identify a scroll, or can I just like straight open that?
It's like a detect magic sort of a thing, and you can figure.
I've got identifier, and I'm totally willing to just, because we're not doing anything, just ritual cast it on both of these, over the evening, or over like 10 minutes, 20
Yeah,
minutes.
it's up.
Yeah, you can figure it out, whatever the case may be. But did I tell you what those were, or do I have to look up
Yep.
the old message?
You told
Oh.
me. It's a potion of like the auras, where you can see different auras, but you're blinded,
That's right.
and
cool.
a scroll of animate object.
Ooh.
Be our
And
guest.
then Bellum kept the potion of speed because
Smart.
Hey.
I already have 2 stats ridiculously high.
yeah,
You don't want to turn me into a god now, do you?
I think Stalbor would like that very much.
I think he would. I think he would absolutely try and buff all his stats as much as possible, because why not? That's a Xanathar spell, isn't it?
Which one?
Animate object?
It is, but it's a powerful
Great.
animate object.
Yeah, no, I'm just trying to work out where to put it so I can put it in my spellbook. Yeah, I'd definitely copy that.
If anybody's curious about if you literally Google map of Eberron, you can see like the 5 major.
Alright, ready.
Oh, did you post it? Oh, thank you, Aaron.
There you go.
Yeah, on Eberron, there's 6 continents. There's Corvair, Aranel, Zendrick, Arganescent, Sarlona, and then Everice. But Everice is one of those like, yeah, it's here just because it makes sense.
Aranel is so tiny.
Oh, Aranel is. Yeah.
Small but powerful.
Aranel's like Europe, like your continent. That's cute. You know what I mean?
Europe's big. Britain's small.
Europe is not. It's the
Europe
smallest
is
continent.
not as big as the others, but it's still big.
Yeah. It's
By
like,
the way, there's a whole subreddit devoted to maps without Europe in it. I guess just like.
I was just saying that's like New Zealand's its own continent. How cute. So anyways, moving on. What were we talking about? So you do that, have the whole exchange, all that stuff back and forth. You have the spells there, Ollie. Obviously, that potion is not something that's inside any book. It is a very unique ability that exists. But Aaron, at some point in time, while you're actually in your room checking your charts and stuff like that, kind of planning where it is you need to go to, luckily you didn't really sustain any damage on your ship, so that's good news. There's actually going to be a rap
How
tap
new and
tap,
different.
a rap tap tappity tap on your door.
Come in.
It's both Savellum and Mia are there. Maya
Oh dear.
So they walk in, and Maya's crossed arms and like kind of like really closed in, like very like uncomfortable, very obviously uncomfortable at the moment, and goes like the wide part of the room, like comes into the room, kind of like makes a bit of a distance, kind of like leans against a wall. And Savellum, who is much older, much more experienced sailor, and has more of a rapport with you, is trying to maintain a non-dejected face, but is going to walk up to stand in front of you and say, "Good evening, Captain."
So, you want off the ship? I take it.
There's a lot that's been going on, Captain.
I know, and I understand, and I intend to bring you to Port Verge as soon as possible.
Some of the crew still intends to be a part of the house. Port Verge...
I imagine most of them do.
Yeah. Port Verge is a good place for us to go, but even though there's a good number of us that don't want to be a part of this, at the same time, we don't want to harm... We're not stupid, Captain. We've heard words to the cracks. We understand what's going... I mean, Reich, for somebody who's quiet and dedicated, speaks a lot and very loudly. So his voice does echo.
Yes, I'm aware. It's not something I intend to keep from you, and it's not something I expect you to come along with. I just am having difficulty getting you to safety.
It would be a shorter trip, and for you a safer trip, if you dropped us at Black Rock on Orthus. It's still our house.
Okay.
Thank you. And he turns and he like, you know, does the appropriate, you know, goodbye, and he turns and he walks off the ship and walks out of the room.
I will tell them, like, I do wish you both all the best, and everyone who chooses to leave, even though our paths are different.
You say that to him as he's walking towards the door, and he has the door open in his hand, and he says, "Not everybody's leaving." And then he walks out of the door, shutting the door behind him. Maya's still standing in the room, arms crossed, leaning against the wall. As soon as the door snaps shut, she's like, "That fucking traitor."
Maya, you should go with him.
First time she's cussed, by the way. No, like, we know what's going on. It's spineless, Captain. That's spineless. That's not respect for the house. That's being yellow. You know that this is mutiny, and that a handful of years ago you would have every right to walk him off the plank. Not saying that I want to see that happen. He's otherwise a good man, but that's mutiny. This was all coordinated while you were off the ship. This has been coordinated for over a week now.
It's expected.
But that's still mutiny.
We are acting against the house. I'm not going to make anybody join me in that.
Do you know how
I'm not gonna force anybody to do this. It's not my way.
how are we gonna? There's not gonna be enough of us left.
We'll be okay.
Is
We'll find a-
Stalbor about to start manning the lines?
Is Stalbor here? Can I do in the room
He's-
with me?
He's
Not
probably,
right now, let's say.
Probably in the corner, like, no.
Because I was gonna make a joke that he closes the door and Stalbor's just like there, but
Yeah.
no, he's not actually there. That's in the outtakes.
We'll be okay. We're amassing support. It'll be fine. We'll find help in Orthos.
There's not many
If-
of us. All right.
We don't need a lot. Stalbor can make some skeletons. It'll be fine.
And all right. Back to my
Happy.
post. And she'll turn and she'll walk out of the room, and you know, this time when it shuts, it's like a snap shut. It's not angry at you, just angry in general.
Yeah.
But it's like a loud snap shut, and she, you know, you can hear her boot prints as they walk away.
I will like bring the core group together at the party and like inform them what happened. Like, just so you know, like it was expected. it went better than expected, to be honest with you.
Are we amassing a pirate crew now?
I mean, we can probably get changeling support, even if it's just a few members.
It seems to reason as we're collecting support that we can collect crew members.
We can run with a skeleton crew.
I don't really want to do that. Oh, you mean as in there's not many people? Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's a figure of speech.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't make them do this.
I agree. I think you're making. Well, it's not your decision to make. They deserve to be able to leave if they want to.
Exactly.
Okay. So you guys, does Bellum or Reich say anything about it, or is Bellum not core?
Bellum's kind of half core.
I would pretty much wait until like everyone's breaking up, and I just linger behind for a few moments after everyone walks away, and I say,
Does N have anything to say? I would have invited him along too.
N is going to be a little sheepish and very quiet.
Sounds good.
What's with that attitude?
So you ask?
Yeah.
I'm known.
Well, that's what you do. I've known. I guess
It's one of those things where there's already so much going on. I didn't want to put stress onto your plate. So, you know, it's my job to, you know, defend you when the time came. But I've known because, you know, you hear things.
all right.
And I spend a lot more time on ship than you do. I don't support them doing it, but I don't blame them. But it seems like you and I are on the same page, so this conversation is probably just going to end up making me look bad. We can move past it if you'd like.
Sounds great.
Good.
So, Rank, what do you want?
I say, I wouldn't take this personally. I know how you tend to do these things.
It's fine. Truly.
A good leader inspires confidence in the people around them, and they will follow them. Into battle. A great leader teaches their people to make their own choices, and when it is time to part ways, they do so with a smile.
Noted.
Thanks. Thanks. It's
I
like,
look,
it's like she's putting like blue cheese on our buffalo tenders, and he's like, just so you know, buffalo tenders are best with blue cheese. Thanks.
That's the very right
Yeah,
thing.
It's reassurance.
Yeah. But in the right way.
Appreciated, Rick.
I know, and I just turn and leave.
Alright, that's all.
So in the middle of the night, when the ship burns to the ground, all the crew, roped to the mast, and Kyrann hovering over them. No. The next morning comes. You guys wait the appropriate number of hours to make sure that their ship is capable of sailing again, because the anchor has lost its effect and it's been able to turn around and head back to port.
We could have undone that at any time.
That would require approaching.
I'm just like letting Bellum know, like, we could have done it any time. We're just being assholes.
I didn't know how to use that.
I know. I was being an asshole.
You know how hard it was to figure out how to use that thing on a ship with people looking at me like they wanted to kill me?
It's an anchor, so you just...
It's a feather! It's not an anchor!
What's the matter, Bellum? Never used magic before.
I've used plenty of magic.
It was a
Not,
joke.
not feathers, sir. Unless you're talking real feathers. I've used plenty of real feathers.
Just sort of like a turn and leave.
Okay.
Alright.
So, you guys, next morning, time passes forward. You're gonna sail towards the harbor.
They let us dock.
They actually do let you dock. Unfortunately, you can't actually dock with your vessel. You're gonna have to bring a longship in. But the reason for that isn't because they're not gonna let you dock. The reason for that is your ship cannot dock.
Mm-hmm. It's just too big.
It rides too low, and they have strategically placed this port in a place where you would have to have like a water galleon or something like that, where it actually sits above the water, on the water, for it to get there. So you guys can't get there because of like the coral reef and everything that's in the way. So you have to bring the longboat in, which is not a problem. So you do so. Do you bring anybody beyond the core four?
Do you want Ed to come too? He's diplomatic. He might be able to
I
figure.
don't know if it's necessary. Elves don't like changelings.
Yeah.
No? Okay. Changing stays behind then.
Okay.
I would like a list of like who is gonna stay. And so I would task Ed with doing that.
Yeah, that's a good task.
Okay. So like Ed and Maya will get that together for you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So anyways, you guys make your way to the dock. Needless to say, the tone here is cold. I mean, these peoples aren't the most welcoming of outsiders anyways, but Stalbor, you know the culture. For the most part, it's very similar to yours. And you don't like outsiders. You just don't. Outsiders bring outsider problems. You know what I mean? And you don't need that. This is cold for an Aranel reception. It's one of those things where you would say, hello to somebody, and they would just stare at you and then turn. like it's cold. The dockmaster is there. We've met him before. So when you come to the dock, and he will walk out to speak with you and says, "Good day to you, Captain."
Thank you. To you as well.
It seems as though you've had conversations and have worked out some sort of understanding. And you are welcome to dock here.
Excellent.
The reason for your visit today is?
Well, we would like to speak to the prince again. And we would like to supply for our journey forward.
And these supplies you're going to be paying for with?
Well, we have gold and we have magic. If you would like to know some secrets.
Got mad secrets, yeah.
Mad secrets, yeah.
Word.
Depending on the magics that you offer, they carry much weight. As for golds, we have little use of it. And we don't often have to deal with the tradings of other places.
Yeah. You stick to yourself quite a bit.
It generally works out for everyone.
Great. I'll walk past him. I know where the prince's house is.
So you go to head to the prince's house first, or do you want to head to like the shopping first?
Oh, I don't know. Stalbor, do you want to trade? magic for magic while you're here?
If I could try to talk to someone like important in the ways of magic, yes.
You probably speak to the prince first, then.
Yeah,
Okay.
it'd be an art. Because I'd ask them if there's someone I could talk to, because my magic is sensitive.
I kind of give like a sorry shrug to Bellum and Reich. I guess your money's not good here.
This
So-
is shrug.
I have a lot of money.
You make your way to the prince's home, which, like you said, you know how to get there. It's a little different navigating on foot than it is flying through the air, but you find your way there. Again, very cold reception. From time to time, you hear insane amounts of growling coming from the trees around you. This kind of growl is extremely intimidating. Bella, roll me an intelligence check, please.
Sure thing. I'm no longer exhausted, right?
Correct.
Like just flat intelligence or history or what?
Flat intelligence. Neither Reich nor Bellum know what that noise is. You just know that it's kind of intimidating. You know, it's
Giant apes.
Oh,
I don't like people.
that's great.
You know that the trees where the growling is coming from each have 2 guards standing at their base. And the apes do not come down. They do not come into view, but you hear the growling and the occasional scream of these creatures. And if you've ever heard a gorilla's like angry scream, imagine that a gorilla is much smaller than this creature and a lot less feral. So you make your way to the all the way to the prince's home, where as you approach the prince, there's a on the door, and so you go to knock on the door, and as you go to knock on the door opens up, and the prince is once again standing there. She looks at the 4 of you. Her eyes are falling with disdain to Bellum and Reich. It's weird having their types here, but does actually open the door for you to come walking into the home.
Oh,
Got a bow and everything.
Okay.
I don't do that.
I put on my finest elvish etiquette.
Mhm.
That I guess actually I probably am pretty polite most of the time. Star Wars kind of got tired of doing it most of the time.
I have that effect on people.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, literally. That's why he's no longer uses etiquette. Yeah, but he'll be behaving and nice and polite.
Okay, so she opens up to allow you into her home, you can see that the immediate area that you walk into looks like a very warm and comfortable library. Loads of books all around. There's a warmth to the place. And there's also a certain level of humidity in this place that you didn't experience as much outside, but in here it's very dense. The air is like very, very thick because of how how dense and humid it is. As you come walking in, none of the pages seem to be rotting or anything like that. As you come walking in, you see there's no chairs around the place, there's no tables or anything like that, but there is nice comfortable places for you to sit on the floor if you wish to do so. She does walk over very, very, very slowly, makes her way over. It's one of those things where, Stalber, you're accustomed to the slow motions of elves. She moves so slow, it's even somewhat aggravating for Stalbor. But she eventually makes her way over to the across the room, where she slowly turns and slowly sits. Reich, you're somebody who practices your physical form every day. You stay in tip-top shape every day, and that includes things like slow sit-ups and stuff like that, slower squats, because it hurts more when you do that. You're not sure if you could sit down as slow as she did. Like, that is some muscle. Eventually, she sits down, and you guys are welcome to come in. Do you take seats as well? Does anybody stand? How does it go?
Yeah,
I'll
I mean,
sit down.
I would first be like, Shane Tassel, this is Reich Merchalon, and Bellum.
Okay.
Bellum would stay standing and he'd say torn.
She would nod to each one of you as you say it, and she says, "The fact that you have returned leads me to believe we might be coming to an agreement.
I certainly hope so.
About 30 seconds pass. Let me open this agreement by saying I appreciate you're not destroying my vessels. It is apparent that their destruction was well within your grasp, and that I underestimated all of you, and yet have never heard of you except yourself. Gesturing to Kyrann.
Well, we have made quite the ruckus in the last 2 years, but it's my understanding that you don't have contact with the mainland. No one in the Principalities does.
You are informed, she says after like 20, 30 seconds. And just assume it's always a big break.
Yeah.
I will take out the coin from like the changeling and say, yes, we have been making the rounds.
Do you have any more of those?
No.
Less
we
of
did it
a
in the wrong
round
order.
And more of a line.
Well, you were our second point of interest.
Well, we have been making waves in the past 2 years, so has Lyrandar. They have doubled down on their alliances with Aranel and Valinar.
We do not have opposition to our brothers and sisters on Aranel. Sorry, Valinar. They worship our ancestors in their own way. Foolish. Savage.
Let me rephrase then. Aranel is reaching out to Valinar, using Lyrandar as a go-between. And I'll pause to let her like make those conclusions on her own, what that means for them.
You can see that she clearly, like, 'cause she actually will be quiet for the solid 3 minutes. And then she says, and as for ourselves, what waves do you intend to make here?
I think we both have a similar goal, which would be to get Lyrandar out of the Principalities, to lift the barricades they have put up. I think that benefits you because of Aranel's involvement in all of this. I might be wrong. Correct me if I am.
We do not require the things that others in the principalities do. And so these barricades affect our day-to-day life less than others in the principalities.
Your day-to-day life, sure, but I'm not talking about the present, I'm talking about the future. If you think these barricades are Lyrandar's end goal, you're sadly mistaken.
They're not. However, neither do I believe their end goal is something that would affect us directly. I do not believe that we lie in the path of the storm, but instead will suffer collateral damage.
Yes. And I believe it is no coincidence that Aranel is allying themselves with Lyrandar in this area.
And you stand opposite Lyrandar, your own blood and family.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
I do. I don't agree with what they're doing. They have hurt people who are close to me.
Ah, and there it is. Not principles, but vengeance.
I also like the Principalities. I have a fondness for them.
I can see why one would have a proclivity to this area. I have asked you to do a task for me to return the favor of doing one for you. I do not need you, but you can provide something that's others cannot. And so, I'll provide to you what others will not.
What can we provide in this task that others cannot?
I need genocide.
I get that, but why are we more suited for that task than anybody else?
How difficult was it for 3 of you to stop 2 of the greatest vessels in all of the principalities?
Yes, but taking down 2 ships is a far cry from breaking into a prison designed to keep in magic users when 2 amongst us are magic users. Even the feats that we did, the 2 least magically inclined of the group still required some magic to pull that off. We have not amongst us a master thief. We have not amongst us anyone who has ever broken into or out of anywhere that's secure. But
Which is why I'm asking, why us? You said that we could do this when no one else could. Explain.
Reich, how many have you fell in your day? How many have fallen to your prowess in combat?
I give Stalbor a look because she's not answering the question.
warriors do not count the battles they've won. They count the battles they avoided.
And those are words of wisdom that carry with it a number that cannot be told of bodies. However, were you to scour all through the principalities and ask everyone that you met their number, they would be more than happy to share it with you. And it would be a far cry from the truth. They do not have the ability to stand to one guard, let alone dozens. They do not have the wherewithal to get into the prison, let alone out of it. They don't have the training or trust in their companions to make through magical boundaries like the four of you do.
Okay. Let's say we do this for you. Only because he wants me to. And I point to Stalwar.
Turns, very slowly turns the head, and a very slow nod to Salbor of appreciation, and then slowly turns the head back to meet your gaze.
I would like assurance that this isn't some wild goose chase setting us on. That this isn't something just get us out of your hair. Would you be able to supply us with a small number of crew to come with us and assist us just in the sailing of this mission? We're going to be losing a good number of our House Lair and Dark crew because it is their choice to choose a different path.
Stalbor with insight with advantage roll an insight check.
Sure.
Finally, not disadvantage because he's an elf.
Exactly.
You actually can tell that she had put 2 and 2 together almost immediately when she said it, but the fact that Kyrann decided to be completely upfront with the information, she genuinely appreciated that. Like, you could tell that it was one of those, like, that was like almost like an unlock right there for her in this conversation. So she responds saying, "This is not a waste of your time, but a means to save my own. And I will certainly place hands on your deck. However, those that will sail with you will be those that have sailed against you. Those that are familiar with your abilities and prowess."
I have a question. Let's address the elephant in the room here. Why do you need a guy named Genocide?
laughs at that too, like she can't help it.
She will slowly turn her head to you. She finally makes eye contact with you by the time you finish your sentence and question. And she says, "You do not earn a name like that because you are skilled with a blade. You earn a name like that because of other talents that you possess. We do not need him so much as what he knows and is capable of. And that is all I will say of this."
Well, that was pretty cryptic. But, whatever. He looks at the group like, I got nothing here.
Karen kind of shrugs at that, and like, bells.
If we were to accept this, have you any knowledge of the prison? We would need to make a plan, and frankly, we know very little about it.
Yes, I do have knowledge of the prison, and I'm willing to share it with you. But only to one of you, she says, slowly turning her gaze upon Stalbor.
Jesus.
That
Well.
seems appropriate.
I don't have a problem with that.
Neither do I.
Bellum.
Literally just does, like, yeah, stands there, like, not even assuming he's a part of the conversation at that point. Just like, picking some, like, dried meat out of his teeth, just like, oh yeah, not a problem.
Okay, so she waits to see if anybody says anything else.
Well, we'll do this for you.
So, I was your second stop since last point. And it's very unlikely you would have stopped anywhere else along the way, considering your reputation in this area from the years that have passed, and perhaps one that may have been known of the years recently. I imagine that you
Not wrong.
need to restock very much.
Yeah.
There were
I mean, Stalbar keeps track of all of our supplies, so he would know more than I would, to be honest.
Starbar's like, yeah, we got like rice, and that's it.
It's good rice.
He's good.
So
He's very good.
you check the rice, you realize it's actually not rice, it's a handful of like maggots that have died and shriveled up. You're like, oh.
God damn.
It's good maggots. That will eat like anything.
Bellum too.
He's a born sailor if you think about it.
What it was is like the deck where you keep your food was actually like immediately beneath where you have that big rotting kraken thing. And it's like the ones that have fallen through the cracks. So anyways, where you, what is it? She says, there are very few merchants amongst my people who have use of your coin on a regular basis. But all of them need it from time to time. They will accept your coin, even if they will do it grudgingly. And they will not charge you exorbitant fees like they do most that take dock at my port.
Woohoo.
Understand that we do not have an accord, but I am open to one. And she kind of like pulls out and reveals to you very slowly a very, very large copper coin that has onto it like the skeleton, you know, like the makeup face of the undying of one of the Undying. It actually, to you, Stalbor, it's actually strikingly similar to a symbol of the Undying Court, with differences enough to be considered heresy, but similar enough that an outsider would not notice a difference.
Stalbor wouldn't flinch at that.
You should let the crew members who are joining us know that we will be making a stop at Orthos to let off the Lhazaar members of our crew, who no longer wish to be a part of what we're doing.
When my people join your ship, they will take almost any order that you give unquestioningly. Understand, I say almost.
I was waiting for a but.
I'm sure you will know where those lines are.
Yes.
I kind of look at someone.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you guys have anything else to say to her? Stalbor, I think you had a question that you wanted to ask her.
Stalbor's assuming that everyone else is going to leave but him.
Mm.
So he's going to have a small talk with her in pre-voto.
Cool. So since the three of you are... Oh, Aaron, were you going to say something?
We'll go get supplies and everything, like walk.
Yeah. I'd give you, like, the itinerary.
Since the three of you are off scene, it's time for the three of you to start, like, Google searching what items you were hoping to purchase.
Yep, I got it already.
And make sure you know the rare... Because if you're, like, on Roll20, they don't tell you the rarity on there, which is fucking obnoxious.
Yeah.
So make sure you let me know the rarity so I can let you know the likelihood. All right. So, Aaron, Stalbor, you just continue sitting there. And as everybody leaves, she looks to you and says, you have questions. You have needs. And you have no home.
Is it that obvious?
You are forlorn, and the human years are wasting on you. One should look forward to their union with their ancestors, but they should never race towards it. You've nearly come to them yourself once before. There's still upon you a lingering magic that holds you together. Where did you come across such a tome?
These magics are my own creation, my own research. They are incredibly illegal back on Aeronel. This is why I had to leave them.
They are foolish and closed-minded. They see the flow as being only one way. They wish to be living while never dying. And that's unnatural. Death is meant for all of us, even if you continue on. I see potential in you, Stalbor Greyside. Potential for you to find a home here. But you are an outsider, and you carry with you the weight that all outsiders do, and you know the implications of that. For us to be willing to accept your responsibility, you must make it worth our while.
I am willing, interested in a trade of magical knowledge. What I have learnt that the Aeronel would murder me for, that you may appreciate, as long as you understand the weight of this tome. And he will tap the spellbook. I understand that such a thing may be slow, may not even be may take time. And I am willing to take that time.
She nods. More or less, you guys come into a possible future agreement. But then obviously there's the matter of now, and in a very elven way, kind of like you can see like the change of like body motion, whatever, that kind of like lets you know there's no like lead to or segue verbally. It's very non-verbal segue in tone. She actually will slowly gesture towards like a pull string that's on the wall behind you. It reaches higher up to where there's like a tapestry higher on the wall.
I will pull it.
When you pull that string, you actually see it opens up or unveils a window behind it. The window is a very ornate ring that like casts. So you can see the window is a very ornate ring, almost looks like a chakram, right? Where the center of it is still solid, it doesn't let light through, but the ring still has light pouring through, very strong, and it leads through the air and onto the grounds between where the two of you were sitting before. There is a big ring of sunlight with a darkened area beneath it. Now, the light pouring through does come through a very faint stained glass. The colors are so faint that you think that maybe a human or an orc or something like that wouldn't be able to appreciate the depth and the nuance, but your elven eyes, which can always perceive color, can, like the richness of color, can much more better appreciate the scene that's painted there. Anyways, she then slowly gestures towards an urn that's set onto the floor off to the side.
I will take it.
You pick up the urn, and it is a bit heavy. It's like got some oomph to it.
I have a +5 strength.
Oh, but you lift it up with one hand without ease. Sorry, with great ease. So, but anyways, you can tell that it's very heavy, and you look at you and you like walk over with. Yeah, I imagine walk over with it.
I imagine I'm putting it in the middle.
She gestures to the center of the thing, and then gestures for you to remove the cap and have a seat again.
Yep.
Okay. Do you put the cap on the ground next to it, or do you like bring it to sit next to you?
I'll hold it actually.
Okay. And you sit down. She will then close her eyes, and you can see she's entering a meditative state as she starts to chant, and her body slowly swaying back and forth a little bit as she's incanting this very old. You can tell by the language that she's speaking, the tone to it, the words that she's saying, all of this stuff. It does not sound like Elven, like you would ever hear in Corvair, and it's Elvish in a way that you would barely hear in Aranel. It has this raspiness to it, this deep guttural noise to it that carries with it the weight of its giant background. You know, you can hear the nuance and tone of its giant background. As she continues to roll through it, you can see the urn vibrate slightly, and then the ashes within the urn start to swirl and swirl and swirl and come up and finally take before you the form of a dwarf that is standing before you. Fully clothed and everything, dwarf standing before you. But he's not just any dwarf. He's a dwarf that has on him a blackened mark of Kundarark, a greater mark of Kundarark blackened. While the mark is blackened, his skin is extremely pale. Very, very, very pale. His eyes have a slight reddish tinge to them and are very seductive. He looks at you with a slight smile and a bit of a hunger. And you can see the fangs that are like, you know, his canines, how they're elongated. He stands there before you, hungrily, thinking to himself, oh, I've got myself a nice morsel here. But as he takes one step forward, the sunlight burns into his foot and he recoils backwards and lets out a bit of a hiss. And then that's when he kind of takes in his senses and whips around to see her there. And you can just tell by the grunt, the noise, he's been through this many, many times before, and he knows exactly where he is and what's going on. With that, we're actually going to take our break, and we'll be back in just a few minutes to see what the fuck's going on with Stalboy.
Dwarven vampires!
Woohoo! All right, we'll be right back.